Hello, everyone. And I'm super excited today to have Faith Bradley with me. And so Faith has been a member of the Supporting Small and Local Businesses Everywhere Facebook group for a while and very active one is at that, which I love. Faith owns Faith Insurance Solutions, which is an insurance company that's really focused on health insurance, life, and Medicare, right? Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Yep, we also do employee benefits, but, a lot of that can be hard to take in all at once.
Yeah, it seems like you're very busy. So Faith, first, thanks for being here. Thanks for your donation. Really appreciate that. Thanks for being a small business owner. We know sometimes that can be a little
Thanks
bit
for
difficult.
having me.
So Faith, tell us a little bit about you, your background, and how you decided, like, listen, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so, I don't know if anybody actually really is. I wasn't that person that just started like, "Oh, I wanna start my own business," you know? When I started, it was actually I was going to school, full time, and I was working nights as a server, like, 4 nights a week, and I was a single mom, and, my kid, at the time, he was, like, 4 or 5 years old, somewhere around that range, and I was like, "Oh, I found insurance, through a significant other." And he was doing really well at it, and I said, "Okay, well, if I can do this for the same amount of time I'm putting into serving, then and pay for my school, I'll, be able to get through that." Because I wanted to be a CRNA, which is a nurse anesthetist. Um, and so I did that, about 3 months in, I quit school, um, and started doing insurance full time. Um, it didn't take off from there though. That was back in 2016. That's when I got licensed. I started with a captive agency, and it just wasn't the best fit for me. So I ended up leaving that and started a landscaping business. After that, I did that for a couple years. It was actually pretty successful, but, a young girl, because I was like 25, 26 at the time, managing a group of guys wasn't the ideal thing for me. I just didn't, I wasn't digging it, to be honest. So I came back to insurance in 2019, and, honestly, since then, my business has just taken off. I really grew a love for insurance. I always tell people, like, I didn't, grow up wanting to be an insurance agent, and I don't think anybody really does. But there's this thing that happens, and you just become you grow like a passion for it. You know what I mean? Like, I've always wanted to help people. That's why I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to, make a difference in people's lives. And, as cliche as that might sound, like, I do that on a regular basis. Um, and so now we're here.
I love that. I love that you said, you've wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And I think how, insurance is so important, obviously, in so many different ways. But talk to me about one time that you really felt like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. Like I really did make a difference in some like a customer or client who really is memorable to you.
Yeah, so I'll have to dig those up, but there's been several times, but there's been specifically a couple times whenever I'm dealing, with your senior communities, and you've got these ladies or men, and they don't have the right guidance, or they don't know what's available out there, or they're right in that income bracket where they could have had their Medicare paid for and they didn't know that. And so I was able to make that happen to them. I was able to get them, their Medicare paid for. I was able to get them, from paying, $50 at the office visit to where everything's covered 100%. They didn't have any out of pocket cost. Now that I'm thinking about it specifically, I had one guy, he had no idea that he even qualified for those extra benefits. And we were just going over plans, and I was like, hold on, let me check something. And he qualified for the extra programs that are available. And he's, obviously been my best friend ever since. That was like 2 years ago.
Sure.
But it's, whenever I wake up and, I have my clients send me text or send me emails, and they're like, you truly did help me. Like, you actually helped me. That's when I really get the most satisfaction out of what I do. Um, So yeah.
I can see that. I mean, that's so fantastic that you're actually, because, when you're, well, listen, anyone, especially nowadays, $50 a visit, that's a lot of money that you're saving them. So that's really important. Talk to me about the importance, though, about having insurance. Why is it so important for people to have not just health insurance? I think that's obvious, but life insurance as well.
Oh, well, that is a good point. So, a lot of people, may not see or value the importance of life insurance because they don't think that they can use it within their lifetime, right? They're like, "Oh, I'm just paying this premium and I'm just doing, this for whoever else." But what happens if when they die? Like, who's responsible for that? Like, do you really care about your loved ones? You know what I mean? And nowadays there's so many different life insurance programs that have living benefits that if they get cancer or have a heart attack or have a stroke or they're critically ill, there are plans that will pay them out before they die, which is really freaking awesome. It's like one of the products that I encourage the most. Um, I get people all the time that call me, after they have an accident or after they, get sick and they're like, "Oh, I need health insurance now." And I'm like, "Oh, it doesn't really work like that."
Mhm.
If I could, say one thing is, you know, like just make sure you're covered before something happens because by that time you can't get covered
Mhm.
and it's not covered. And the number one reason for debt or bankruptcy these days is medical.
Wow. Really? That's interesting to know medical is the number one reason. Is it true that if you have a pre-existing condition, then that's why it is so important to get it beforehand, you can't get insured?
Okay, so no, that is not true since Obamacare, ACA, the Affordable Care Act came out. That was one of the reasons that they developed that was to limit those pre-existing conditions, limit the maximum amounts that the insurance companies would pay. With that, a lot of people are able to get covered, and no matter what happens, you can go on the individual exchange and get coverage. But that's why we're seeing so many increase in health insurance prices now, is
Mhm.
because you've got all these people that will go on and get insurance because they can, and then they'll cancel. So they're
Um,
not paying in. The
yes.
insurance companies are they're mandated to have to pay these claims, like they legally have to. There's nothing that they can do about it. So you'll start to find a lot of insurance companies that are developing other plans outside of the marketplace too.
Mhm.
They're usually referred to like short-term plans, indemnity
Mm.
plans, things like that that do exclude those pre-existings. Um, but the ACA will cover everybody and everything. They have no maximum amount of or no maximum limit that they pay. So that was another thing that changed is, you may have like a $500,000 limit or $1 million limit or $2 million limit. Well, now that limit's taken away. So, you know, not that it's typical for somebody to have more
Right.
bills than that, but if it happens, then yes, it'll get covered.
Mhm.
The thing is that with the Affordable Care Act, you have a special enrollment period.
Mm.
So, unless you move, get divorced, have a baby, um, get married, lose your employer coverage, lose Medicaid, um, have a special event or qualified life event, then your enrollment period is November 1st through December 15th, which is now extended to January 15th, but that was the typical enrollment period for the past, 8 years. Um,
So it seems
so
like there's a lot of just me sitting back listening to this. It seems like it's very confusing. So I think that's an important reason why someone would need or want to talk to you or talk to
yeah.
an insurance agent.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that it is very confusing and half the insurance agents I know don't even understand it or have
Mm.
a hard time understanding it. So finding somebody that you can trust, finding somebody that is honest and has transparency is definitely important whenever looking for an insurance agent. But one of the misconceptions that I always find is that a lot of people think that insurance agents have a fee, but it's actually built into the commissions already
Ah.
or into the premiums. So my fee gets paid by the carrier but they're already charging that whether you use me or not. So why not use me?
Right. Right. That makes, I
You
mean,
know?
I think people don't know that. So that's really,
Yeah.
that's a valid point to know. And Faith, do you deal with, or I don't know, do you have to be certified in certain states or do you work nationwide?
Yes. So whenever you were talking about, a state by state basis, you do have to get licensed in each additional state that you want to write business in. So we are licensed in 25 states.
Wow.
We have a team of agents that are licensed in about 10 additional states that Faith Insurance Solutions isn't licensed in. So we use them for, our referrals and clients that come in those states that we're not licensed in. One, we want to help our team. And two, we want to make sure that you're getting sent to somebody that's going to actually take care of you.
Mhm.
um, with each state, you do have to get appointed with different carriers too. So, you know, one thing that is important to look at is if somebody is nationwide, that's great. Just make sure that they have, the additional carriers in those other states too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really important. My father passed away extremely 66, very suddenly,
Oh,
and did not have a lot of life insurance at all. And I can tell you, as the family, you really do suffer. The family is the one who ends up paying, as you said. And I think had my father at 66 healthy until, he did just have his heart attack, we didn't know, and he had no it would have been very inexpensive. I think people get this preconceived notion that insurance is so expensive. Can you talk a little bit about that?
yeah. So, you know, when it comes to life insurance, it of course is going to be less expensive the younger you are. But even if you're, in your 50s or 60s, I mean, you can still get, $100,000 policy for less than $100 a month.
Mhm.
And I mean, $100,000 would do a lot for debt, for your funeral expenses, really for heartache. You know what I mean? Like, and
Exactly.
that's another thing is that we all grieve when
Mhm.
people go. Everybody grieves in a different way, but having that comfort of not having to worry about, oh my God, like I'm trying to still live my life. And then my dad just died.
Right.
You know what I mean? I lost my dad at 16. So,
Yep, I get it, yeah.
so I get it,
Mhm.
but like those are all the things that you want to take into consideration. And then also it's like, if you have kids, like your kids, at least get them to 18. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like they have to depend on you for that, right?
Mhm, mhm. Your volume went down just a little bit. I don't know if that's your audio or what, but we're ending things pretty quickly because we've already got to the 15 minutes almost, which is amazing. But I think it's very important to your point, as you said, when you deal with this, especially a sudden loss, like I did, and I'm not sure if yours was sudden or not, but you're absolutely right in the fact that you're dealing with this loss. The last thing you want to be thinking about are bills and all of these additional bills that you're going to have to be paying for on top of that as well. So thank you for what you do. You have a very important job and it's critical. So people are going to be seeing this. This video is going to be all over the place. We're going to be posting it a lot. My concern is that people, won't see where they can get a hold of you, how they can get a hold of you afterwards. So first tell us, are you accepting new clients? Is there stipulations to that? Do they have to be living in certain places, ages, or any of that? And if not, or if so, tell us what those are and how people can get a hold of you.
Okay. Yeah. So we're always accepting new clients. We are building our team also as well. So if you're ever interested in getting into the insurance business and you want to check out what we have to offer, then the open invitation for that. Have a great support system, and you really can't find much better in the business. So there's that. In order to get in touch with me, my email is my name, Faith at faithinsurancesolutions.com. That's my website as well, faithinsurancesolutions.com. And then my contact number is 813-397-8750.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Faith. Thank you for being a small business owner, which I know has
Oh,
been difficult, can be difficult these past few years, and for sticking through and for really having such an important job that I agree. I mean, listen, especially going through what we had both gone through and just having that firsthand experience, having life insurance, like you said, it's never too late. It's not too late to have to
Yeah.
get life insurance. And so it's something that people really should think about. So get a hold of Faith if that's something that you are thinking about. Faith, thank you also for your donation and for being an active member. And we really appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Cindy. It was such a pleasure sitting with you today, and I look forward to the future.